Sup flappers, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we want to talk a little bit about the current state of all the elements, especially with 1.6 bringing a very welcomed elemental reaction buff, and it has affected a lot of the transformative reactions, but most overall, it's pretty much buffed elemental mastery as a stat. So in the end, it really is a buff that, while welcomed, I don't think fully solves the issue of the current problem with certain elements. So going back to Electro, I think miHoYo is trying to push Electro into a more supportive role. Even when I did testing for Overload, it did seem that it was better to use Electro to apply the element and use Pyro to activate it versus using Pyro to apply then Electro to activate. And of course, inherently there is nothing wrong with putting certain elements into a more supportive role, and I think it's without a doubt right now currently that Pyro is the best DPS element out of all of our options. It's just built into the element, right? Almost all, if not currently, I believe all of the Pyro characters have offensive capabilities either in their kit, and by design their element is already capable of dealing massive amounts of damage. It doesn't take much for Pyro characters to be able to hit 6 figures when it comes to damage output. So now where does that put Electro? While currently Kaching, if you really fully max her out, I do believe has the potential to stack up to 6 figures with her burst skill. However, that is really pushing the upper limits of her capabilities. And going forward, I wonder if more Electro characters are going to fall into this realm where their potential is not really capped by, let's say, how well you pilot them or how well you play them or how well you build them or optimize them, but really by their elements. And I know currently it's not that big of an issue, right? Like really, whether a character is capable of hitting 6 figures or not capable of hitting 6 figures, if you pair them with the right team, give them right resources, they should be able to clear the game. But with this current change, I do believe that my current consensus is it's not enough. I do think we need to see more for the element of Electro and potentially Anemo to push them more in line. Or then we just have to accept the fact that miHoYo wants to build this game into a game where different elements will serve different purpose. And if you want to do more damage, then here are a couple elements that are great choices for dealing more damage. If you need more supportive characters, then these characters inherently with this element serves better in the supportive role. Now, of course, there are many ways miHoYo can fix this issue by tuning characters, right? Giving them more raw stats or through better artifacts or through weapons. But that is also a direction that I am really worried for, because if it's in artifacts and it's put more power into team optimization, then I can see that happening, or different characters just unlocking new potentials for other characters, such as Hu Tao being paired with Zhongli is just phenomenally better than if she were paired with no shield characters. Things like that are still on the table and be okay, while it's already a little iffy because, well, if you don't get this character to pair with this character, you're going to be losing out on a lot of potential. But that is still better than the alternative, which is, well, if we just make Electro inferior when it comes to DPS comparatively to Pyro, because if that is the alternative, I will find this game to be quite stale, quite predictable, and if next time you see an Electro character, you'll be like, oh wow, why even bother? I'm looking for a new DPS. So this Electro character immediately is out of the question for me. But of course, like I was saying, so we got weapons, artifacts, characters that can all unlock new potential. So the worst one I would say is weapons. That's going to be the cash grab, right? If we're talking about miHoYo making more money, building it into their weapon is going to be the one that likely will give miHoYo more money, because why would they build it into the artifacts? While artifacts can get more powerful and more relevant, building more power, let's say a new Electro artifact that just makes Electro characters completely busted, right? And only Electro characters can make use of them. And that's going to be how you get Electro characters on par with Pyro characters. Great! That would be an amazing solution to the current issue, and everyone will be able to work towards that goal without needing to pay money for it, right? It's just a matter of time and commitment. And of course, the third one we just talked about, which is our new characters. I think this one is fine as long as miHoYo doesn't go too overboard with it. But then again, you know, let's dial it back. This is more of a discussion. I do think that out of all three of these options, it's never gonna be as black and white, like, oh, this is the only option. I do think for certain characters, their weapons are gonna be completely busted. for other characters, you know, using them with this artifact set is going to make them really, really good. And of course, there's going to be characters who just inherently work better with other characters, whether it be 5 stars or 4 stars, or certain 4 stars with certain constellations will unlock great potential for another character. And I do think as the game starts to evolve and MiHoYo releases more characters, more regions, and then a whole new element, we're gonna get many more ways to pair this together. So while currently as it stands, I do not believe the changes that have been brought to the elements and reactions are sufficient to make them truly shine in comparison to other powerful and more, I guess, quote-unquote meta element. In time, this problem should become less of an issue simply because there will just be more options for us and more ways to circumvent and cover for their weaknesses. However, I do want to say that meta will never ever go away, because there will always be somebody out there who figures out the best way to pair certain characters or the best way to squeeze out the most amount of damage for the current available units, and there will be people who chase that meta. But not all players are the same, and there are definitely people who just play what they want and what they enjoy. Does it feel a little bad though to say that, well, the current thing that you're playing is just kind of weak or really weak for some characters, to the point where the only reason people even respect you or you are ever in discussion for playing this character is because you're handicapping yourself in the game, right? Let's say Amber mains, right? We give Amber mains a lot of respect because the character itself is underpowered, but the respect comes from the fact that they're underpowered. And these people actively seek out this challenge and they enjoy playing a character that is subpar or undertuned in comparison to the rest. To some people, they enjoy that challenge, but to other people, they simply don't want to feel that resistance. So please tell me what you think with these changes. I do think Overload sits at a better position, but it also sits at a better position because Pyro is so powerful, right? If we're talking about Overload, yes, Electro becomes better, but so does Pyro, right? Because Pyro is the other half of Overload. So if you increase the effectiveness of an element, but you increase the gap as well from this element to the one that it's trying to catch up to, it doesn't really matter. All in all though, I'm very happy with the changes. I do think MiHoYo is pushing this bit by bit in the right direction, because do remember, they can never revert changes. If things get changed, they cannot bring it back because people pay money for this game. Again, the laws in China prevent them from doing so, so they definitely don't want to end up over buffing something. So I understand where they're coming from by doing these kind of more incremental changes to assure game balance, and then nothing really gets too out of line for this game. All right, but let's look forward to some Electro characters because they really need to start releasing some of them. At this point, Electro is just as rare as Dendro characters when it comes to character releases, because there's never been a new character that's been Electro released. So look forward to that. They better be dropping Electro characters back to back to back. I'm gonna have to really jump ship here. But in the meantime, I'm still enjoying playing Keqing. I think she's still a great unit, especially with these changes. She does feel a tiny bit better, but of course, fingers crossed for much more to come in the future. And let me know what you think regarding these transformative changes. I personally don't think they were really for Electro units. They're really for EM and Swirl, right? Mostly EM. Elemental Mastery as a stat. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's video. All right, till then, stay safe and peace.